Welcome back, everyone. I'm here to talk about why I started martial arts. Let's get into it. So, as early as I can remember, watching those movies like Ninja Turtles, Three Ninjas Kickback, or Surf Ninjas, or even the iconic movie Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon. Now, I always wanted to do those cool flips and kicks and, you know, techniques throwing people from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen. So, I guess yeah, I always wanted to do those cool techniques, but I feel like that's a young man's answer, and I kind of feel like that's a vague answer too. But I would say the reason that kept me going into martial arts, that kept pulling me towards it, like gravity, I would say the philosophy of it, and I'm gonna get into that too in a second. But why I started, it's like it wasn't just the techniques. It's I've been doing martial arts for a long time, and I would say uh, in my early times, teaching classes or just being a student in those classes before I got my black belts. Um, you can teach. Our instructors would teach. Well, we had a class of like 25 to 30 people, and even though you can teach all those students the same technique, everybody would do it differently. For an example, a friend of mine, Ali, um, we had a class where we were doing like 360 round kicks, or some people say tornado kicks. They're really the same thing, just different name. But we would do that kick, and usually when you're doing a tornado kick, your body spins. Anybody that knows how to do this, when your body spins, you rotate like this, right? Not like this, not like this. Your body rotates like that, like on an axis. But when he would do it, he would spin like this, but his kick would come out like a switchblade. Me, when I would do my 360 round kicks, I would spin like this, and my kick would come out like that. So my point of me bring that up is like you can teach a class of 25 to 30 people literally the same technique, but everybody has a different way of doing it because everybody's anatomy is different. You know, there's tall, there's short. Some people have longer limbs than other people. Some people jump higher than other people. So I just thought that was fascinating that it's like wow, like you can teach all these people, everybody's doing it differently. And it wasn't just the kicks, it was like I mean, different hand techniques and different joint locks and throws, and people are discovering different things. And I really think that's probably like the history of different, what I would say, genres of martial arts that I would guess were born or developed. So I think that's kind of cool about it. That's but I don't think that's what kept me going into martial arts. I would say like the philosophy of it, of how you can adapt to different things, and really I guess in life or in martial arts, you will learn that adaptability and compatibility is two different things. And I would say, like in different martial arts, it's just the philosophy of it is so amazing to me. The fact that you can just adapt to so many different things, like whether you're sparring with somebody and it's like everything doesn't work on everybody. Everybody knows that. It's like if you're throwing kicks, like say you and this person are throwing kick drills or whatever, and the person you're partnered up with today or the person you're sparring with that day is taller than you. So anybody that knows this in martial arts is like the higher you kick, the more vulnerable you are and the less power you get. So it's like so you would think if anybody wants to master anything, at least you should be able to kick head level, right? For your height. And then, but it's like if you got somebody that's taller than you, it's like, okay, I'm gonna kick way up here, but the higher I'm kicking, I'm losing power. Okay. And then it takes more time for your leg to come from the ground all the way up here versus like from the ground to like a leg level kick. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just so amazing that you can adapt to different things in martial arts. So I find that fascinating, man. And to me, that's really when the philosophy really started to kick in. And I started seeing like different people. And a friend of mine, Roland, uh, good friend of mine, man. It was we used to have like these black belt classes. Like we just um, I guess sharpen our techniques on different things. Like me, before I get into that, there's different types of martial artists. So there's martial artists that are some martial artists are better instructors. Some martial artists are better fighters. Some martial artists are weapon specialists. Some martial artists are, you get the point of it, right? But I had a friend of mine, Roland. He would we were doing this black belt class one day. We were teaching each other like everybody had a certain skill that they were better at than the other person, and that's what was so cool about this class. So Roland, what he would do is he was southpaw, and I was showing him kicks one day because he's a phenomenal boxer, phenomenal for sure. But I was showing him kicks one day, and he was just like, it's funny. Like I would know what kick he's. I can just look at his feet, and I would know what kick he's about to throw just by looking at how he pivots, and I would know exactly how far his kick's going to go. Because if you're doing any kick, if you don't pivot enough, you're not going to kick in the direction you want to go in. Right? That's obvious. Especially if you don't turn your hip over for a round kick, or you don't pivot enough for a side kick, or you feel what I'm saying. So we were getting into it. Well, but what was fascinating about him was he said, teach me the way you would teach, and then I'm gonna do it my way. And I was like, what does that mean? He said, because I'm southpaw. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I can teach southpaw too. He was like, no, don't do it that way. Like, teach it your way. So I'm right-handed and he's southpaw, but he's so ambidextrous in like weird ways. Like he's southpaw when he fights, but he does different things with right and the left hand, because he's a welder. He's a very hardworking man and everything. But he was so ambidextrous, like different things with his hands. So I thought I was like, all right, I'll teach you my way. So basically, like when he said that, when I was teaching him, what I realized about him was I was just like, wait, so I'm like, but when you're teaching your boxing classes, you teach like you're right-handed, but you fight in the cage when you're left-handed. He was like, yeah. He said that throws people off, and I was like, and I thought about that coming back into the philosophy. I thought about that. I'm like, okay, so you know how to do different things different ways. So it's like basically like no matter what situation he's in, he can adapt to it. And then that was another part of philosophy. I was like, oh man, that's genius. So now what I started to do was I already knew how to kick on both sides, but now it's like I just started perfecting everything. So when it came to like spinning side kicks, spiral kicks, jump kicks, regular kicks, hook kicks, no matter what it was, not just kicks either. It was like hand techniques, because a lot of people are dominant on one side doing hand techniques than the other side. So when he showed me that, I was just like, oh, okay, all right. So he's ambidextrous on both. Okay, well, I need to be able to do the same thing. So even with the philosophy of that, just in martial arts, like, okay, well, how else can I apply this? Can I apply it other places? Like, so I like welding. Welding is my thing. So when I noticed like other people are welding, right? They would do the exact. So everybody holds a nozzle. Everybody holds the weld gun and a nozzle differently. But even though the bead may be laid the same, but their technique is different. And when I started applying this philosophy to everywhere around the world, I was like, oh, whether it's like driving, whether it's anything, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, everybody, it's the same thing, but everybody has a different way of doing a technique or transitioning different to whatever it was. So I think the philosophy and martial arts is what really kept me going. And that's, to me, that's really the exciting part. And I really love that about martial arts. And so if that makes a lot of sense with the detail there, but yeah, I would say I don't think that I wouldn't say that I don't know where I would be without martial arts, but it definitely shaped my mind and opened me up to a lot of different things. And I think that's the really important thing about martial arts. Like it keeps you open minded, it keeps you thinking, it keeps you guessing. Like, so an example, if I was to think about different martial arts, it's like, to me, the way I look at the world, if I'm looking at the world through a Sharingan, it's like all the techniques in martial arts is the same. But people, like I said, if you teach one person, it's like if you have the same teacher and the teacher teaching one side of the world, another side of the world, and these two students come together, the two sibling students come together under one instructor, they're literally going to do this exact same kick, but they have a different way of executing it. Like whether it's like Muay Thai or whether it's Taekwondo, whether it's Capoeira, we're all doing the same round kick. It's either a different name or they have a different way of executing it. And that's so fascinating to me. So I think, yeah, it's just so cool, man. So I would think that's the reason why I started martial arts. just to be able to do cool stuff like that. And then like just talking to different people, how they see things and do techniques. So I think the philosophy of martial arts is really why I kept going and why I wanted to do it in the first place. So yeah, so that's my answer. I hope that that inspires everybody else to do the same or want to explore or get into different things. And it's a good way to stay in shape too and keep your mental. So yeah, I hope to answer your guys' question. I see you guys next time. Peace.